Okay, so grape season is right around the corner. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here this morning. It is the second week of June 2019. Now we've been here before. These are our flame seedless grapes, and obviously June for us means it's grape time. But this particular variety is mainly for fresh eating, so we do eat them ourselves, we sell them as well, and we do make wine, so we will probably be trying some wine with these grapes as well. But one of the things that we run into, of course, like everything else here on the farm, is birds and bird pressure and damage. We design the systems and the trees and the vines, everything that we do here to try to preserve as much of the harvest for ourselves as we can. So one of the things that we do for our grapevines, which we've talked about before, we have them set up so that we can easily net them to keep birds away, and also use the most efficient process as far as gathering the harvest. So we're going to show you the details as far as what we do with that, but let's talk a little bit about when you know you need to start protecting those grapes. Here's how you know when you need to start protecting these grapes. With flame seedless, it's pretty simple. They start turning color. So you can see we've got a bunch here. What we look for is obviously the color, which we just started seeing a few days ago, but also bird damage. So you can see we have this guy here that already had a bird going after it. So we know at this point we need to get these covered. So that's how you tell. These guys, super simple, changing color, time to cover them, protect them from birds. So we have this set up on a basic cordon system. So our flame seedless grapes, we've talked about the actual pruning method we use on these. You use spur pruning. So what we have is we have a cordon that's set at 3 feet, which is kind of hard to see in here, but we have a wire set at 3 feet, and then we have an EMT conduit that's set at 6 feet. So what we do is we allow the grapevines to grow up to that 6-foot level, which you can see they've done a great job at filling that in. Because we prune back at that 3-foot spot, we have the growth that comes out of the 3-foot spot up to the 6-foot level, and that's where all of our grapes are. So we have all of our grapes easy to reach. They're all within that 3 to 6 foot range, so it makes it very easy for us to come back through a net. So that's one of the reasons why we utilize this system. But the reality is this is a traditional system. So winemakers and vineyards across the country and across the world use essentially the exact same thing. So it makes it very, very easy for us to come back through, protect, and harvest. So let's take a look at materials. So materials for this are very, very simple. So we're going to be using bird netting. So we've got bird netting here that's 1/2 inch, which keeps all of our birds out. I have my Corona pruners because we will be pruning back some of the vegetation. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then I have basic clothespins. All of these you can find in our Amazon shop, so very, very easy to use, very, very versatile. We use them all over the farm for bird protection. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back through, we're going to get ready to get these vines netted. So what you're going to see is you're going to see Lori and I go through, we're going to be actually pruning off a lot of the material that you see here. Now one of the things with grapes actually need sunlight to ripen and ripen evenly. So we want to get those bunches ripened as evenly as possible. Vines are very adept at actually covering the fruit. So we want to make sure we come back through, get the vegetation cleared away from the fruit so sunlight can penetrate through there and ripen evenly. So we're going to go ahead and get some of that removed now. Okay, so you can see big difference here. Now, one of the things I want to mention before I go any further is the vines. So we've picked these vines up and our chickens are having a blast scratching and tearing through and chowing down on those grape leaves. They love them. So livestock fodder, it actually is a very good livestock fodder. For us here right now, that's chickens. If we had pigs, they'd be munching on it as well. We just don't have them right now. But tortoises, rabbits love your grapevines. You couldn't really tell when we had all the vines blocking them, but you can see there's a tremendous amount of bunches on these vines. So obviously you're only seeing this side of the grapevines. We have the other side, which is where our garden beds are at, that has these as well, but we've got dozens and dozens and dozens of grapes. So now a few things that you can clearly see, and I'll have Lori stop here. So I cleared out a lot of vegetation in here. So there was a lot of green that was blocking all of these grapes. You can see we have several that are completely green, have no coloring here at all. We've got this one here that's got a good amount of red in there, so it's coming along pretty good. So this will give you a great idea of why you want to clear that vegetation off and why we actually have this set up the way we do. In fact, the way vineyards do is because you can get this cleared away, and now at this point, very easy for us to come back through and net it. So we're going to use our bird netting and our clothespins to basically completely net this in. So that's up next. Okay, so we have the netting up. That took just a couple minutes to get this netting up. So when we first cut this netting, and we've been using the same netting for 3 years now. When we first cut this netting, we cut it just a little bit short. So we have to cut these back just a little bit so we can get back in here and get these clipped. So essentially what we want to do is we want to make sure we have enough space at the bottom so that we can get those bottom clusters underneath and inside the netting, and then of course have it long enough so that it reaches both ends. So that's what Laura and I made sure that we went ahead and did. So now we know that we're about even on both sides, but what we're going to do is we're going to come through, we're going to use just regular old inexpensive wooden clips. So your clothespins, we're going to use those and come down at the bottom first. You'll see her and I going through and making sure we're even all the way down the line of vines here so that we have it even across the bottom. You can easily get in there and get these off, but we'll do that first. Then we'll come back to the ends because I know I'm here. We'll come back to the ends, slide it back and forth if we can, and make sure that we get the ends clipped. So that's what we're doing next. Okay, so we're done. So you saw Lori and I come through, worked as a team, got everything netted in, so birds cannot get in here. So we've got all of our grapevines protected. One of the great parts about this, using these clothespins, is whenever we have ripe bunches as we come through, we'll be harvesting off of these vines for probably the next 3 to 4 weeks. So as we come through, we can simply just take any one of these clips off, unroll the netting from the bottom, reach up in there very, very easily, use some snips, and snip off each one of these bunches and really enjoy some flame seedless grapes. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Instagram and Facebook, we post content there you won't see here on the YouTube channel. Questions or comments in the comment section down below. And our Amazon page, I'll leave a link in the description. Check that out. A free, easy, painless way to help support the work we're doing here is to start your Amazon shopping there. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. We design everything around here from... That was a bunny, not a squirrel. But it was a squirrel moment.